This is the Entrepreneur Unleashed Show, episode 31 with Jim Belosic.
The Entrepreneur Unleashed. The Entrepreneur Unleashed. Entrepreneurs Unleashed. The podcast where purpose and passion become revenue streams. Be real. Take a stand. Change lives. Here's your host, Patty Keating.
Welcome to the Entrepreneur Unleashed Show. I'm your host, Patty Keating. Entrepreneurs everywhere are creating a new breed of business success. They're making their own rules, taking a stand for their purpose, leading through integrity, and making money by changing lives. Join me each week for compelling messages that will inspire and empower you to unleash your true purpose. Are you an entrepreneur who would like to reach more people, make a bigger impact, and make more money? You need to check out Unleash the live event, where we will show you how to move from a one-on-one coaching consulting model into a one-to-many model using the online biz formula. I'm bringing in experts from around the country who are going to show you how you can put together sales funnels that convert, create a program and a product that you can sell over and over again, and we are going to have a ton of fun doing it. Join us in November for Unleash the live event in San Diego, California. Just head on over to unleashedlive.com and sign up today. I am so excited to introduce you today to Jim Belosic. He's a CEO of a company called ShortStack. And he created a marketing tool that businesses can use to build contests, sweepstakes, collect data through forms, and other innovative ways to gather information online, both mobile and on desktop. So he has campaigns with URLs that can be used for standalone websites or be placed on social sites like Facebook. He's up to some really great stuff. He started his first company when he was 22 years old. That was a graphic and web design company. And that transformed into what is now ShortStack in 2011. And today he has more than 330,000 users across 184 countries. He's got some great stories, an interesting background. He's been a contributor to Inc., Forbes, The Next Web, Fast Company, and Entrepreneur. Welcome, Jim.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for being here. I'm fascinated by your story and all the innovation that you are plugged into. I know our audience is gonna love to get a sneak peek behind the scenes at how all this came together for you. But go ahead. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm a CEO, I guess, but that's kind of a name only. I never thought that I would be a CEO of anything. I don't think I have the skills like an MBA or the education to go with it, but here I am. I've always been a small business owner. That's how I see myself. And, the whole entrepreneur thing, I think that's great to be an entrepreneur, but I think a small business owner I'm almost more, I'm more in love with that title because it makes me feel like I'm telling people that I like to get my hands dirty. And as all the small business owners and entrepreneurs out there know, we all get our hands dirty. So ShortStack is our current project. But like other entrepreneurs and small biz people, I have a bunch of different irons in the fire at any given point. So, my interests range from cars and computers to my kids and my wife, of course, and firearms and who knows what explosives, anything that's kind of fun and usually makes my wife question my intelligence level. So
it sounds like you love adventure.
I like a little bit of excitement. Yes.
So what inspired you to start this business?
Really, it was demand from our clients. Like you said, I had a graphic design company, and I started freelancing when I was 16 years old to get spare cash to take girls on dates. So I've always been designing logos and business cards and whatnot. And then as the graphic design company grew into, more web design, because in 2000, 2001, 2002, everyone wanted websites. And then as we got into, 2007 to 2009 and 10, social media started becoming a priority on a lot of my clients' lists. And they were saying, hey, what's Facebook? What can we do with it? And I've never been one to turn down an opportunity to make a little money. So I said, yeah, let's see what we can do. So we started building these apps for Facebook for people to, like you said, collect data or run a contest. And we realized it was so popular, and my customers were being really successful with it, that we decided to kind of shift the company and only focus on that piece. And we ended up shutting down, the design agency and focusing only on the software. So it wasn't so much inspiration as demand, I guess. And then until finally the light bulb clicked and I said, wait a second, why should I have to wake up at 4 a.m. to answer calls from East Coast clients when we can just let them log in and do it all themselves?
Very cool. And so tell us a little bit about what your software does for people.
It simplifies things, I guess, at the very basic level. Typically, in order to create a contest or a sweepstakes, or to create a form that people can fill out in order to receive something, it's relatively complex on the coding side. You need to have a pretty decent web developer to do it, or you can use one service, but that service may not have all the features that you want, and then so you have to put 3 or 4 services together, and it starts to get kind of complex. That's what we were doing, back in the day, until we decided to kind of brew our own solution here. So really, it's kind of a one-stop shop, I guess, for creating contests, whether it's for social media or the web in general. And it allows someone to just go on and create something, put it out there, and let it do all the work, instead of having to, deal with a web guy building it for 2 weeks and then he disappears.
So why do people use contests? I'm sure some people are going, okay, how would I use a contest on Facebook or social media? How does this apply to me, and why would I do it?
Yeah, contests and sweepstakes are a really good way to get people to engage and, kind of get them somewhere so that you can show them something else, I guess. If I have a happy hour at my bar, it gets you in the door. But if I'm serving, a dinner there too, then it might at least got you into my bar so that you could see my restaurant, So a contest is a great way for someone to interact with the brand, perhaps even, learn about your product if that's something that you're giving away. So they'd, maybe watch a video about it or learn more about the product. And then another key component in contesting or sweepstakes is to get their friends involved as well. So with social media, it's really great with contests to say, hey, give your friends a chance to enter as well. So we really look at contests as not the end all be all, but a good foot in the door, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So when you were putting this business, let's talk about this business together, what major obstacles showed up along the way?
The first thing that we did is we focused only on creating apps and the different software just for Facebook. And so we're built exclusively in the Facebook platform in the early stages. And every Tuesday, Facebook does a big code push, and their platform would break and our platform would break, and then people would be upset. And it's really hard to build your business on top of someone else's. So that was a huge obstacle for us. We just knew every Tuesday night is going to be Red Bull night, and we're going to stay up and fix all the bugs. But then we've solved that recently with what we call platform agnostic coding, where we're saying to marketers, look, just focus on your goal, whether that goal is to get people to sign up for your email newsletter, or to collect some data, or to get some feedback, or get them to vote on something. Just focus on your goal, but then put it everywhere. Let them enter from anywhere, from Twitter, from Facebook, from Pinterest, from LinkedIn, from your email newsletter. Who cares what segment of the audience that you're talking to? Just focus on your end goal. And that was a tough nut to crack, but I think we did it pretty well.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
So when you're faced with the challenge of, like you said, building your business on the back of somebody else, and you were going through this process of figuring it out, how did you move through that? Like, what skills did you use? What happened that had you really get to the other side?
I think the best thing that we do is listen to our customers. One of my mottos is, hire people that are smarter than you. And I always feel like we could expand that to, have customers that are smarter than you too. Because if you think that you're giving the customer exactly what they need, you're going to be surprised, because they're the ones out there on the front lines. Everyone who uses ShortStack is a professional marketer. They deal with their clients and their audience day in, day out. They know what's changing before we do. Mm-hmm. So we just listen. We try and fix as many pain points as possible, as quickly as possible. But with that obstacle of Facebook, I wish we could say that, we were super brilliant and did all this without any outside help, but we weren't. Our clients said, "Hey, Facebook is great, but what about Twitter? You guys are leaving us out. We have a big audience there. What about Pinterest? This thing's new. What about Instagram? What about this and this and this?" So we really had to reevaluate and say, okay, we got to kind of future-proof this, because what if there's whoopsie-doo that comes out in in a year? We have to make something for that. So it all goes back to our customers and our ability to listen.
Yeah, that's such a great point, because you're really dialed into your market and you're giving them what they're asking for. Would you say that's the major lesson you learned in that, or did you already know that coming in?
I think we take a little bit of, give them what they're asking for, and then we mix it with a little bit of, Henry Ford, where he says that if he listened to his customers, they would have just asked for faster horses.
Exactly.
So we have to balance it with what they want and what they need.
Yes.
And that's, so we do keep our expertise, because, we sit on tons and tons of data and intelligence from, serving so many different people accessing our platform. So we try and say, okay, we understand that's what you want, but really the best way that's going to help out your bottom line is going to be with this feature. It's going to work a little bit better. There's going to be some resistance at first, but trust us. And when we show them the data, then it usually works out. So it's a fun relationship.
So what are you passionate about right now?
I'm passionate about change, I guess. Coming from the world of print design and traditional marketing, billboards and newspapers and whatever, and then going into web, and then going into social. I think we're really seeing social media mature. Mm-hmm. And, in 2008, 2009, Facebook and Twitter were the wild, wild west, and everybody was trying to figure out how to use it for business and how to make their cash register ring by doing something on Facebook with their business. And I think there's been a lot of experimentation, and we're starting to see some best practices evolve. So I'm really excited to see, like what I've said with being platform agnostic, with focusing on your goal, focusing on your campaign, and then just, not really worrying about where the people are interacting from. Mm-hmm. That's, I think, kind of, web 4.0 or 3, whatever version we're on, whatever they say. But I think that's kind of the future. It's like, focus on your customer, not on these individual little platforms.
Yeah. Beautiful. So what's your vision for the next 3 to 5 years?
Oh my gosh, that's an eternity.
Yeah.
Anytime we have to sign a new lease on our building, it's like they want a 5 year lease. I have no idea what I'm going to be doing in 5 years.
I know, especially with what you just said. What are you passionate about? Change, right? Because that's where innovation lives, and especially in your market. So I know
Well,
it's kind of a challenging question.
it is. The one thing that I'm excited about, I guess, is more power in mobile devices, where we've seen this huge shift to how many people consume on mobile versus desktop, and I'm kind of interested in seeing a shift from just consuming to producing for mobile. So, right now, if you're a marketer and you want to produce something, you have to go on your desktop and make a coupon or whatever, and then send it out. It would be so cool to have that. You could just be laying in bed after a hard day at the bakery or whatever, and make a coupon for your bakery and put it out there, and just from your mobile device, because it's small business owners have zero time, and I think that a lot of marketers don't realize how little time they have, and everyone thinks that, hey, I'm a marketer, so my small business client must think that marketing is the most important thing. And no, the most important thing for them is paying their payroll, getting supplies from their vendors, dealing with employees. So the better tools that we can give them in order to have better marketing, achieve their goals better, but spend less time on it is going to be really interesting. So I'm curious to see not only what we can do, but what other industries do as well.
How this is all going to roll out, because we know it's coming.
Yeah, it's definitely coming. And I think there's been a fragmentation in social media where Facebook was such a dominant player. Of course, they still are, but now it's almost a pay to play, I guess, with reach and everything. Twitter has been adopted by some latecomers. The demographic is shifting a little bit older, and there's more businesses on there, small businesses trying to take advantage. The same thing goes with Pinterest and Instagram, and who knows what else is coming. So, again, just focusing on goals for your clients allows you to kind of future-proof whatever's going to come down the pipe next.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot with advertising now, with Twitter and YouTube. Everybody's going after the pay-to-play model.
Yeah, which makes sense. We went through a phase where, everything was free, and we all got really, really spoiled. And then we're still, with current pricing models, we're still very, very reasonable for reach and engagement compared to traditional media.
Oh my gosh, it's a gold mine.
Yeah, it's still just absolutely amazing. But it was unsustainable to be free. So it's just taking a little bit of time for everyone to get on board, and we'll all reminisce about the free days.
Yeah, we will. So let's talk about you and some of the growth you've experienced, just in your life. What's the best advice you ever received?
I received it from Ben Chestnut. He is the founder of MailChimp, and we use MailChimp for all our email marketing and stuff. Went over and visited him in Atlanta, and I was asking him, when we were first starting out, I was like, oh my gosh, what do you do for marketing? Where do you advertise? What kind of ads get the best clicks and stuff like this? And he looked at me and he said, don't worry about any of that. Don't do pay-per-click ads. Don't, do all this other stuff. Just focus on the product. And it's so simple and it makes so much sense, but you have to keep drilling that into your head, because it's so easy to go down the path of, maybe if I increase my ad spend, I'll get more traffic, or, wow, if I put a new coat of paint on my building, maybe people will like my storefront better. Focus on the product. If you have amazing cupcakes, people are going to tell their friends, and you'll have a line out your door. But if you advertise like crazy, you're spending 200 grand in advertising, and you have cupcakes that taste like cardboard. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So that's what we try and do. I mean, when you look at something like Instagram, there was a big word of mouth thing that went around where you didn't see Instagram commercials on TV or anything, or hear about it on the radio. Your friends told you about it. So I think that's our goal, especially in software, but I think it works just about anywhere.
Mm-hmm. So what personal growth have you experienced on this journey?
I love scientific method. I love to solve problems, and this journey has given me plenty of opportunity to do those things.
Yeah.
I guess the growth has been really weird for me because I used to produce. I'd like to call myself an artist. That's how I kind of think about myself. That's what I wanted to do growing up, is be an artist. And then I realized that it's tough to put a roof over your head as an artist. so graphic design, or that's still art, and I could make a little money. But I would still sit down with a sketch pad, and then I would produce something, and I could show the fruits of my labor. Now that I've moved into the creative side of the business and the CEO side or whatever, I don't actually produce as much. It's hard to say what I did all day. I come home and I'm like, I don't know. I talked to everybody and I ran around. I don't really know what I did. So I think I'm getting better at it, but it's a tough move to go from producing something to being a thinker, I guess. So I enjoy it. But again, I surround myself with brilliant staff, and they produce. And, once you can give up some of the control,
Mm-hmm.
and realize, okay, instead of me producing one thing, I have 10 people producing 10 things. And now we can really, hit the ground running. It's been really exciting.
That's awesome. All right. So what gadgets or tools do you use to make things easier?
I am totally ADD, so I have to live off lists. And my favorite list is Tools Wonder List on my iPhone and on my computer. And it's so simple. It's just like a piece of paper list where you just check things off. And the satisfaction of hitting the check button and it going away is great. So that's how I live my life.
Keep it simple, but I love that it's mobile too, right?
So it's great for in the middle of the night or early in the morning, or if I'm driving and I kind of yell at Siri and say, hey, remind me to do this or whatever. And then I share the lists with other staff members, and they can start executing immediately. So it's really effective for us to get stuff done. Sometimes my thoughts are leading, and getting them out is pretty effective for us.
Awesome. So what resources, books, podcasts, or blogs do you recommend?
I don't read a whole lot of, actual books. I think I consume, mostly through blogs or through, emails or whatever. But if there is a book that I like, it's by Steve Krug, and it's called Don't Make Me Think. And it's a super short read. It was actually, he wrote the book so that it could be read cover to cover on a flight, on a single airplane trip from, Vegas to Portland or whatever. So it's about user testing and user experience. So it's really applicable to software, but I find that it could be applied to, brick and mortar or whatever. So it's about simplifying how people interact with your product, with your service. It's about, testing and watching how people interact with that. And it's been incredible for us because I think that every small business owner would agree. when you know your product, you know it better than anyone else in the world, and you kind of expect other people to know certain things. But when you start doing user testing, you get really your eyes can get opened to, wow, I had no idea that was so confusing to them, or how come they don't know that? So by doing user testing, it's improved our product, 1,000,000,000%, and I think it's extremely fun too. I like to be surprised when I find out that someone didn't see that button, and I thought it was so obvious, or a feature that is so simple and clear to me is extremely confusing to a user. So the more that you user test and you have people, or mystery shop your business, or give you candid feedback, it's really exciting. So that's my favorite book. Otherwise, I subscribe to a couple different newsletters from MailChimp. They have a bunch of different lists that you can subscribe to, but I really like their user experience newsletter. And then beyond that, I follow a few people on Twitter and Facebook, but I'm very, I pick and choose what I consume because I have very limited time. So it's tough to say. Sometimes people just send me stuff. It's, if you surround yourself with good friends who know what your interests are, then they can kind of take the cream of the crop for you and just send it your way. So that's kind of my favorite way to find cool stuff.
And we'll put your book in the show notes, guys. That you guys that are listening, you can go over to pattykeating.com/Jim Belosic, or you can just search Jim at the website, and the show notes page will be there, and we'll have some links to the cool stuff that he is recommending, including his site and the other things he's referred to. So, Jim, if you were to do it all over again, what would you tell your younger self?
I would say, shoot for the moon a little bit quicker. I've always grown the business in very, very small steps because my sights were pretty low. I wanted to be first of all, I just wanted to have a business that stayed alive for a few months. And then I wanted to be, one of the best businesses in Reno, Nevada. And then I wanted to be the best business on the West Coast. And then it's like, okay, how do we expand our clientele to the entire nation? Okay, now how do we go international? So it took all these steps, and it's because I wasn't looking forward into the future enough. And I wish I would have started out and said, hey, let's start this at nationwide from the get-go, and then we'll go global. And it could have saved me some time, but at the same time, I guess I think I learned a lot by scaling slowly. But it would still be interesting to try.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations on everything you're doing, and thank you so much for sharing your experience and what you've learned and how you've grown and the great stuff you're up to with our listeners. We really appreciate it.
Cool. Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And could you just give a shout out to your website real quick, and then we'll get that in the show notes as well.
Sure. It's shortstack.com. Shortstack, just like pancakes.
Awesome. Thanks, Jim.
Okay. Thank you.
Are you an entrepreneur who would like to reach more people, make a bigger impact, and make more money? You need to check out Unleash, the live event, where we will show you how to move from a one-on-one coaching consulting model into a one-to-many model using the online biz formula. I'm bringing in experts from around the country who are going to show you how you can put together sales funnels that convert, create a program and a product that you can sell over and over again, and we are going to have a ton of fun doing it. Join us in November for Unleash, the live event in San Diego, California. Just head on over to unleashedlive.com and sign up today. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the Entrepreneur Unleashed Show. If you did, please go to pattykeating.com and let me know what you're up to this year in your business. While you're there, be sure to grab your copy of 5 Quick Ways to Share Your Expertise.